The fallout continues from the weekend here, and it's time to dive straight into some more pundit comments. Welcome back to Fog Football. That's what Billy Dodds had to say. There are tough games for Rangers coming up. It's going to take a big collective to get it going, but there's an opportunity for them to do something. End of quote. Now, big games coming up, right? Let's get into it here. He says that there are some big games coming up. What are those big games? Right. Bruges. Personally, it doesn't matter, the Bruges game. It really doesn't, right? Because people are at the point now where even if we get through into the Champions League, the league's the bread and butter, right? The league is the bread and butter. I don't even know what we could call the Champions League in a food comparison here, but the league is the bread and butter. Champions League, as much as we all want it, and as much as we want the extra money, etc., 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 reality is, if we beat Club Bruges, right, on Wednesday night, and we get through to the group stage, league stage of Champions League, fact of the matter is this, we're still 6 points behind Celtic in the league. Now, maybe the 49ers would have a wee bit more ambition than the last board when we get into the Champions League with Gio, and they would actually spend it. Problem is, if we got in to the Champions League on Wednesday, right, we could absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying they would, but imagine if this board put another 20 million into Russell Martin. I don't know. That would be soul destroying because we all know where this sad song's going. We've heard this tune before, and it's going to result with Russell Martin going out the revolving door, man. That's what happens. We're like a conveyor belt of shite managers. There's just no two ways about it, and that's what's going to happen. So that Club Bruges game is an absolute bastard, to say the least, because it's a tough one for the team and for the manager. But you know what? They put it on themselves. It's got to a point where it doesn't even matter what happens, really, because the fans are going to be pissed off regardless. But yeah, be more pissed off if we lose. Put it that way. Then you've got the weekend's game. I wish I could sit here and say, well, that takes care of itself, does it? I have zero faith the Rangers are going to rock up and do anything. And I don't think it matters what happens midweek, man. Celtic could get beat by Karat, right, and go at the Champions League, and we could beat Bruges. Imagine that. Imagine across this Tuesday and Wednesday, Celtic go at the Champions League and Rangers end up in it. Imagine that turnaround. I still don't even think that would have an impact on the game on Sunday, even though it should. That could be the big shift, but it won't be because I mean I think it's going to be a tough game for Celtic against Karat, but for us Sunday, these players, man, doesn't matter if they've been here or they're just in the door talking about pressure. Oh, we've trained them. We're talking about the mental side of the game. What the fuck are we doing, man? Seriously, the mental side of the game. These are questions that should be asked before contracts are signed, before transfers have been given the green light. It's like, are you ready to step up to task for a club of this magnitude? Because if you're not, there's the door, as Rick Grimes would say. You know what I mean? It should be a dictatorship. Russell Martin should be ruling this with an iron fist, but he's ruling it with a vegan sausage roll out of Greg's, and it's no working. It's disintegrating, man. It's falling apart at the wheel. And that line that he said yesterday, it's not the end of the world. That has rubbed me the wrong way, and we've got a few Rangers fans here. In terms of what they've said, he said some guy called Mitchell says it's not the manager. The players aren't good enough. I mean, that's a load of shite. No, Mitchell, you can't turn around and say that. Not the manager. The players aren't good enough. The players aren't good enough. No. Let's not pretend the players aren't good enough, right? The players are shite. I'm not going to sit here and dispute that. Well, that sounds a wee bit contradictory, right? We have spent millions, and the guys that have been there for years, we've spent millions and they're on big wages. Let's not pretend for a second that this group of players ain't good enough to have more than 3 points out of 9. I mean, you can have the opinion that this team's no good enough to be anywhere near challenge for a league title. You know what? I tend to agree with that. But to sit here and pretend that the players aren't good enough to pick up more than 3 points out of 9 is crazy. That puts us down. I mean, how can people be defending Martin? I think that's crazy. Let's see. John says absolute garbage from Martin. A man completely out of his depth with the demands of a Rangers manager. To say the next 3 games are not crucial shows how little he knows. Every game is a crucial game as Rangers. Yeah, I mean, I just we had on, hot we fucking had the boss. I have just seen a monstrosity comment here for some guy called Keith. This guy's not a Rangers fan. Is that a bad result? Perhaps not. Unbeaten in the league under a new manager with new faces. Most other clubs outside the top 3 would be happy with this start. Bit of perspective needed. What the bit of perspective? Bit of body specs needed. Hold on. We are not other clubs. Oh, most other clubs outside the top 3 would be happy with. What the fuck does he mean? Most other clubs outside the top. Who's the top 3? When have we ever heard Scottish football be referred to as the top 3? Who's the top 3? Was he on about? Is he on about Celtic, Hearts, and Hibs? Is he putting us below Hearts and Hibs? Well, what is this for a Rangers fan? A bit of perspective needed. I don't give a shit if it's a manager with guys with faces that have been ripped off by a bloody monster. They should be getting more than 3 points out of 9. Oh, it's a new manager and new faces. 3 points, and this guy's defense. Keith's lost the fucking plot there. Honestly, some people shouldn't be allowed on the internet, man. What sort of opinions? That is crazy. Anyway, let's dive in over to Twitter, because it's time for some Mirren fans react. We've got a bit more reaction here. What is Keith on about there? That's ridiculous. Moving on though to a wee bit more fallout from the weekend, and obviously in this case it's still St Mirren Rangers. So we've heard from a few pundits. Let's hear from a few fans of the Paisley side here. So let's get into it. Well, I said Paisley side, here we go. Celtic mad, pathetic home support, empty seats. Tell you what, there is a gimmick with St Mirren where they've pretty much openly admitted this, where they don't like the Old Firm, and they don't like the fact that it's not a family-friendly atmosphere, so a lot of people purposely don't go. And if you actually look at the numbers, their attendance pretty much sell out for most of the other league games, and their lowest attended games tend to be the Old Firm matches when they take them on. So, here, what do you make of that then? Adam says, mind the gap. Hearts sit second. They do. McInnes, defence superb today. What a sign of Freckleton looks. Gogic and Fraser rock solid, and that is the best Richardson has looked. Big Shamal looks unflappable. Got it, we couldn't hold on. Every player giving 100%. Love this team. By God, I don't know the last time I can even say every Rangers player gave 100%, and I love this team. I mean, I haven't loved a Rangers team for years. I don't know what love is. I feel most of the time it's just disdain, which is sad. You know what I mean? It should never be like that, but it's hard to love a team that lets you down week in, week out. Big time. Lee Kelly, if we want to get top 6, we need to be beating the teams around us, also fighting for it. Maybe that's a valid point. RJ, mad how days have changed. Before I'd be walking out buzzing with a draw, but I'm raging. We should have won comfortably. There you go. Should have won it, but played very well. I mean, that kind of just tells you all you need to know. St Mirren fans are a little bit aggrieved, a little bit pissed off with the fact that they've drew with Rangers. But I mean, I totally understand it though, because a draw, St Mirren could have been 2 or 3 or 4 up, man. They could have been. Saves for Butland, headers, just narrowly going wide. We were disgusting in that game of football, man. It's crazy. You've been befriended by the buddies. Shat it. Yous were robbed. It wasn't a robbery, you need to reel that in. Munch Bunch, utterly sick of hearing physical team, ugly one dimension, know what you're getting. Our media and ex-pundits constantly doing this good team down that affects officials' thinking. When did effort and challenging to win the ball become bad? Yeah. Tell you what, man. St Mirren, they are a bit of a physical team, but I wouldn't say what they do is ugly. You know what I mean? Look at their goal. What's ugly about their first goal from an attacking point of view? I mean, from a Rangers defensive point of view, it's a munter, like, we're being honest, but there's nothing one dimension about St Mirren the way they play. I thought St Mirren applied themselves really well, and I mean, there is your league table. I mean, it's not fair on St Mirren because they probably should have beat Rangers, right? And Motherwell game was close, and they should have probably walked out of Glasgow a couple of weeks ago against Celtic with a point. That deflected goal late on. So if you look at it, like they could have picked up 4 points out of 6 against the Old Firm if it wasn't for 2 deflected goals. But that's just the way football goes sometimes, isn't it? Played well, feels like a loss. Nick Walsh is a fucking wanker. Utter disgrace, his performance today. Yeah, he is a bit shite all the time. Some decisions went for Rangers, some went against us, but the incompetence of these referees. I feel like we've been that bad this season, Rangers. Well, this is my personal experience. Even though I've reviewed quite a lot of games, the referees have almost took a back seat. And they just get completely forgotten about because everything else is just brutal from my own club's perspective. But anyway, guys, that'll do it for a bit more fallout from Sunday. Crazy midweek here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Till next time. Peace.